Hello dear students, welcome to our online lesson. Today is our third lesson. So our topic is Inca terms. So let's brainstorm. What do you think? What are or what is Inca term? Or what are the Inca terms? So term, it means termine, yes. And what does it mean Inca? What do you think? So, international commercial terms. So, what does it mean, international commercial terms? So, terms which are used between buyers and sellers. Yes? So, first of all, we will watch a video and then we will discuss. Watch this video attentively, please.
Understanding Incoterms is a vital part of international trade. When exporting products internationally, you must agree to sell your goods based on 11 Incoterms. Incoterms is short for International Commercial Terms, which are published by the International Chamber of Commerce and relate to international commercial law. They are accepted by governments and legal authorities around the world. The International Chamber of Commerce have published the latest version of Incoterms, Incoterms 2020, which have come into effect on the 1st of January 2020. Put simply, Incoterms are the selling terms that the buyer and seller of goods both agree to for the international sale and supply of goods. Incoterms clearly state which tasks, costs, and risks are associated with the buyer and which are associated with the seller. The Incoterm states when the seller's costs and risks are transferred onto the buyer. This chart displays Incoterms 2020 in an easy-to-understand format. Note, this chart should be used as a guide only. For a full and complete description, you should refer to the full version of Incoterms published by the ICC. The blue section displays the different types of Incoterms beginning from left to right. The green section shows the groups, any mode or modes of transport, and sea and inland waterway transport. The yellow section shows the freight collect terms and the freight prepaid terms. Starting from the left side is the exporter or the seller of the goods, beginning at the seller's location or warehouse. As you move along to the right, the products leave the warehouse, get loaded on board a vessel or aircraft at the port of loading, get shipped through to the port of destination, pass through customs at the arriving country, and then get delivered further through to the buyer's location. Along the way, there are set Incoterms to establish which risks and costs are agreed to be paid by the seller and which are to be transferred to the buyer. The left side of the chart displays the different obligations and charges and displays which are covered by the seller and which are covered by the buyer. So starting from the left is the first Incoterm EXW, which means X Works or X Warehouse. If the buyer and seller agree to sell goods on X Works terms, then the seller's obligations are simple. The seller will only cover the cost of the goods and the export packaging X Warehouse. So the seller will manufacture the goods and have them packaged and ready for collection from their warehouse. From then on, all additional costs and risks involved in transport away from the warehouse is covered by the buyer.
Okay, thank you for watching the video attentively. So let's move on discussion. So answer the questions below using the above mentioned keywords. So as you hear the keywords, so what does the term Incoterm 2010 rules mean with the process of shipping the goods? So it is the first question, and you are welcome with your answers. Of course, you can send your answers via Telegram or via email. So the next, Incoterms 2010. So Incoterms are divided into two parts. or two types, Incoterms 22 and Incoterms 2010. And here is a classification of Incoterms. So here is given here are given rules for any mode or modes of transport, and then here we can see three types of Incoterms, and here we can see conditions of carriage and contract of carriage. Okay, so rules for any mode or modes of transport. So the first Incoterm represents the maximum obligation for the buyer. The seller has the goods ready for collection at the factory, and the buyer has to cover all costs and bear all risk until they reach this warehouse. It can be used for all forms of transport. So the second, free carrier. The seller delivers the goods to the first carrier. This is the point at which the passing risk occurs. The buyer arranges and pays for transportation, freight, and insurance. The third one is CPT, carriage paid to or named destination. The seller delivers the goods to the first carrier, at which the point of the passing risk occurs, and pays freight charges. The buyer changes and pays for transportation and insurance. So, dear students, as you see, here we can see the rules, the norms, the agreements between sellers and buyers, which Incoterm, what do you think? How two sides choose the delivering, for example, demand, or another mode of something. They first of all do some negotiations, and after that they come to one conclusion, and take one of these Incoterms and use it. So, as you see, here we can see a text, and after reading this text you should answer these questions, and you should learn these new words, and please try to make up sentences with them in order to remember them well. And as I mentioned in the previous lessons, each lesson has tests at the end, and please try do these tests individually and get mark for them. So thank you for your attention. See you next lesson. Goodbye.